Welcome to the Curious Collective. I have seen quite a few president videos created on YouTube, but I've not seen one talking about strange things each president does, so I have decided to make one. Before we start, I would appreciate you subscribing. This was a lot of time and effort to find out these facts. Let's begin. America's first commander, George Washington, was known to be a skilled dancer, and he was often asked to lead the dancing at social events. His grace and poise on the dance floor earned him a reputation as an elegant dancer, and he was highly sought after as a partner. John Adams and his wife, Abigail, often exchanged love letters, in which they expressed their devotion and adoration for each other. Their relationship was considered to be unusual for the time, as it was not common for couples to be openly affectionate with each other in public. Did you know the third president introduced ice cream? Thomas Jefferson was a fan of ice cream and is credited with introducing the dessert to the United States. He first tasted ice cream while serving as the American minister to France and became so amazed with the treat that he brought a recipe back to the United States. James Madison was a lifelong bachelor and never married before he was inaugurated as president in 1809. However, he did have a close relationship with his future wife, Dolly Payne Todd Madison, who was the sister of his first wife, Mary Polly Coles Madison. Madison met Dolly while he was serving as a member of the Continental Congress, and the two formed a close friendship. After the death of his wife, Polly Madison and Dolly became even closer and decided to marry. James Monroe is the president who kept a pet alligator in the White House bathtub. Monroe received the alligator as a gift from Marquis de Lafayette and kept it in a bathtub in the White House. John Quincy Adams was the first president to have his photograph taken while in office. The photograph was taken in 1843 and is the earliest surviving photograph of a sitting president. Andrew Jackson was a fan of cockfighting and owned a number of fighting birds. While cockfighting was a controversial activity, it was not illegal in many parts of the United States. Martin Van Buren was the first president to be born in a hospital. He was born in a hospital in Kinderhook, New York in 1782. William Henry Harrison was the first president to die in office. He fell ill with pneumonia just a month after taking office and died on April 4, 1841. John Tyler had the most children of any president, with 15 children from 2 marriages. James Polk was the first president to have a full set of teeth made of vulcanized rubber. He had lost all of his natural teeth by the time he became president and had to use a set of wooden dentures, which caused him significant discomfort. Zach Taylor, the 12th president of the United States, never voted in an election before being elected president. Millard Fillmore was the first president to have a bathtub installed in the White House, and it is rumored that he was the first president to use it. Franklin Pierce was the 14th president of the United States, and he was arrested while serving as president for running down an old woman while on horseback. Pierce was never convicted of a crime connected to the incident due to what the courts described as insufficient evidence. Some historians believe that James Buchanan may have had a romantic relationship with William Rufus King, a fellow bachelor and political ally who served as vice president under Franklin Pierce. Despite being known for his tall and lanky stature, Abraham Lincoln was also an avid wrestler. He was known for his strength and skill in the sport, and even earned a title as the Champaign County Wrestling Champion at one point. Andrew Johnson was one of the few presidents without a pet. Johnson apparently cared for a family of White House mice, which he called the Little Fellows. Ulysses S. Grant was invited to join Abraham Lincoln at Ford's Theater on the fateful evening of April 14, 1865, but was forced to decline after he and his wife made plans to visit their children in New Jersey. Hayes did not serve alcohol at the White House. His wife served lemonade, instead earning her the nickname Lemonade Lucy. At the 1880 presidential convention, James Garfield campaigned for his friend John Sherman. But in a surprise move, the delegates chose Garfield as the Republican nominee. Chester Arthur owned 80 pairs of pants and changed clothes several times a day. Grover Cleveland vetoed 414 bills during his first term. This was twice as many as the 21 presidents who had served before him combined. Ben Harrison was sometimes called the human iceberg for having such a stiff and stern family. During the Civil War, William McKinley drove a wagon full of supplies, including coffee, to the front line. Later during his political career, his opponents referred to him as Coffee Bill. As a child, Teddy Roosevelt witnessed the Abraham Lincoln funeral procession. There is a photo of the young Roosevelt perched in a window watching the procession in New York City in April 1865 that surfaced in the 1950s. Young TR and his brother were at his grandfather's mansion. When Taft lost the presidency to Woodrow Wilson in 1912, it was the worst defeat suffered by an incumbent president. He got only 8 electoral votes. Woodrow Wilson allowed sheep to roam the White House grounds and eat grass to cut down on the manpower needed to maintain the lawn. Warren G. Harding wrote a series of lurid love letters to his mistress, the wife of one of his best friends. Calvin Coolidge was a quiet man. Coolidge replied, "You lose," to a visitor who bet she could get at least 3 words out of him. Herbert Hoover reportedly spoke Chinese in the White House when they wanted a private conversation. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the longest-serving commander-in-chief, claimed to be distantly related to 11 other presidents, including his 5th cousin Theodore Roosevelt. Truman had an unusual middle initial. Truman's parents gave him a middle name of S. after they couldn't agree on a middle name as a tribute to relatives whose names both started with the letter S. Dwight D. Eisenhower's parents originally gave him the same first name as his father, David. However, the future president's mother, Ida, soon had second thoughts, so she changed his name to Dwight. John F. Kennedy had a habit of giving away his clothes, and his wife Jackie had to regularly replace his suit jackets because he gave away so many. Lyndon B. Johnson was known for his love of practical jokes, and once had a doctor friend diagnose him with a fear of death so he could get out of a meeting. Richard Nixon was an avid poker player and once played a game with Elvis Presley. Gerald Ford was an avid football player and was offered a contract to play for the Detroit Lions after college. Jimmy Carter once had a UFO sighting, which he reported to the International UFO Bureau. Reagan, then still an actor, but becoming increasingly involved in politics, became a real-life FBI informant. Both Reagan and first wife Jane Wyman tipped off the Bureau to suspected communist activity in Hollywood. Like his father, George Bush was a member of the Yale cheerleading squad. His oldest son, George W. Bush, also cheered for the squad when he attended Yale. In high school, Bill Clinton played the saxophone quite well and considered becoming a musician professionally before turning to politics. George W. Bush was the first and only president to run a marathon. Barack Obama was a member of the Chum Gang, a group of friends who enjoyed smoking marijuana together. Donald Trump loves to drink Diet Coke. It's reported that he drinks roughly 12 cans of Diet Coke per day. Joe Biden became the oldest first-term president in the history of the U.S. at the age of 77. Thank you for watching this far. If I missed any facts, please let me know below in the comments. Please subscribe.